Welcome to SASS Mass, our spirituality and support symposium. Think morning witchy chats around a warm campfire. The recording has started, and by participating in SASS, you agree to read and accept the terms of engagement, which I'll post in the chat. We ask that you mute during the recording for clarity and during the meeting and for the afterplay. We will now get started with a few announcements. And I will hand it to Maria. We can't hear you. I'm so sorry. Maria says 1 second. She'll be right back.
Do you need backup? Not that I know what's going on more than Maria does,
I was
but
gonna say, do you have announcements?
I can entertain you guys until Maria gets back. That's fun. Oh my God. You guys are great. There's so many faces I have not seen in a while. Hello, cousins. Welcome home. How you doing? Here's Maria. Ta-da!
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Boom. There.
Well, sad news. I bought one of those tiny microphones and I can't get it to work, but it's so cute. I don't know why it doesn't work. It's supposed to just plug in. Anyhow, that's my thing to figure out. Things are coming on that adventure with me. So thank you. Yeah, I don't know. It's supposed to just plug and play, but obviously my phone needs me to do something. I don't know what.
There's a button on the mic and on the thing you plug in case, because I have the same one. So
okay. So I think perhaps I didn't get the second button, so I will try that. Thank you.
The same thing happened.
They say thank you for coming on that journey with me. I appreciate you all. So I'm Maria. We have some events coming up in September, which are our birthday. So September 6th, 2021 was the first meeting ever at Bright and Dark Center. And we thought it would be a good day to Friday night to have a birthday party and invite everyone that is joined in on the courtyard. So we have now our app, which is very exciting. We thought it would take us forever. And then here we are. Here it is. We have an app. And due to the this awesome space that we came upon through another witch that kind of showed us this awesome app space. And now we have it. And we have a space for the free community, which we kind of call the courtyard. And everyone's invited to join the birthday party. So if you're watching the replay and you're not a member, you're invited to our birthday party, and you just have to join our app space. It's really just going to be a laid back, casual kind of chit chat, but we do have some announcements to share, which we will share on that day, some exclusive announcements for that day. And yeah, who knows, we might come up with some other things to do, but right now it's just going to be kind of like a hangout, get to meet some new witches that have joined our courtyard. So I'm looking forward to that. It's very exciting. We also have a launching coming up. So after you have been in the foundations program for a year and a day, which is the usual time for if you were in a traditional coven that you would kind of participate before being initiated. So even though we're not a traditional place, we do kind of have this foundations for a year and a day, and then you're in the guild. And to celebrate that, we wanted to create a ritual. So kind of with the spirit of a graduation, but it not being a graduation because y'all aren't going anywhere, which is wonderful. We created this after dark launching event, which kind of bookends what you did in your foundations launching. And that's coming up on September 22nd. So I know We have a couple people joining. And so it's just something to look forward to after you've completed all of the workbooks, all of the months, the moon cycles, which are 12. And then coming over to the guilds where we definitely still talk about our shadow work, but it is more focused on magical kind of side of things. So yes, that's kind of one difference. So that is what's coming up. We kind of feel like we're like relaunching kind of my ADHD tendencies want to say, allow me to reintroduce myself, like that song. I think it's Jay-Z. um, every time I talk about it, that's what I have in my head. But kind of like a reintroduction because of this new space that we're creating. And we have like witches coming in every day, which is always very, very exciting. So those are the events for September. We also have our in-person convergence, which is like happening at the end of September. It always gets here so fast. And that right now is our only in-person event that we have, but we have had others in the past, and we will look to always doing more. We've have a lot of data that we've collected over the 3 years, and when we roll out new programs or when we roll out new events, we want to be able to do it in a way that is supported and that is very aligned with what we're doing. And so we take like a little bit more time to kind of roll things out now, maybe than we used to do. Keeping that in mind because we want to do things that are thoughtful, mindful, that are supportive to everybody involved. But we are having our in-person convergence at the end of September. Our main house is sold out, but there are still tickets available. It just means that you would get your own Airbnb, which there are plenty of Airbnbs in the neighborhood, and would be happy to like make sure that it's in walking distance to where we're going to be. I personally have done on-site lodging and off-site lodging. My system, I need space for sleeping in a house full of witches is an experience, which I recommend you do, but I've done it. And so now I will sleep off the property. But it's really fun. It's a ritual in person is like nothing you've ever experienced before. If you've never done it, it's amazing. And so if you weren't able to do it this year, there will be another convergence next year, and hopefully more in-person events to come. Yeah, we're kind of like there's a lot of movement going on in the month of September. So come October, where is kind of like heading into that winter time. Um, we'll see what that brings us. Thanks, everyone. Over to Jen Marie.
Yeah. All of what Maria said. All of what everyone said. Oh my gosh, guys. I am like currently at what? There's 27 days left of my being in Alaska. The convergence this year for me is a homecoming. Like in a very real sense, It's like, I'm proud of myself for the way that I'm navigating this and everything. It's a huge change, and I understand, like I fully understand it's not the gravity of this like choice and movement. Uh, but it's like I have no doubt at all in uh in this community that we're building. I have no doubt at all that this change is going to allow me to be able to be flexible enough to go where my medicine is needed and to be able to do more of those in-person things that we're all talking about and we're all like craving and needing. And like I get it, but the next 27 days is like, whoo. So Kim's here and she's helping me sort through all of like everything that I've like built up here and deciding what is coming with into this new life and what is staying and where it wants to be. And that's like a whole process. So I'm super grateful to have her here with me through it. Because it also involves a lot of like grieving, and it's supposed to, right? Usually when I express grief in SASS, Maria starts getting a bunch of messages. Guys, I'm good. I'm not in crisis. I'm not in a place where there's any need to like call in the witches at this point. I'm not saying that there might not come a time that that will be, but it feels like by my making this choice, it will allow us to actually call in the witches when that is needed and that physical support is needed. So I don't mind taking one for the team. It seems to be our pattern, guys, of me just like, all right, I'm gonna like just do the thing and let's go, witches. We'll see what happens. And then here we are. So I'm cool with that. But it's a process. And so what I'm doing at SASS, I know that's a lot of context and everything. I know that you guys are um you're all like healers yourself and you guys are all sensitive about this. So I want to include you guys as much as possible. And I want to start by saying thank you for like the grace and space that you guys have given me over the course of the last 30 days. For my processing. I do a lot of introverted processing, and this was a big one. It was a big one. And I'm doing very well. And again, I'm proud of the decisions that I'm making and all of this, but I wouldn't be able to be making the decisions I'm making without the support of this community. And also without the support of the support team. So big, like, thank you for everyone. Let's see if I can name everyone. That is Maria and Akasha and Kim and Wit and Ocean and Silver. That's everyone. I did it. That's the support team. So thank you guys. These are the witches that are dedicated to making sure that this community has a voice and has the support that we need to be able to function in like a healthy way and in an expansive way. And the way that they're showing up, like for me, as I'm personally experiencing this catalyst is really amazing as well. So thank you guys. So in that spirit, as we're doing SASS today, I'm going to be disassembling this view that we've gotten so accustomed to. I can't imagine a better group of witches to hold space as I do that. You know, like everything on this wall are things that you guys have sent me and have made for me. I have everything that isn't on the wall that you guys have sent me or made for me in a hat box that's fucking glorious and absolutely coming with me, by the way. It's a beautiful hat box. But it's time to like take it all down. And there's emotions, of course, there needs to be. Oh. And this is also a part of my process of like recentering, reorienting, a big part of this catalyst that I'm experiencing has the flavor of, like, it points, I guess, in the direction of where my beliefs are regarding the source of my safety, security, and stability. This entire tower moment is just like, if it were a sitcom in the 80s, like a family sitcom in the 80s, that's what everyone would be going through, would be the theme of like, where is your sense of security and stability and like safety rooted? That's exactly what's going on. It's so blatantly obvious. And so I am I recognize that I have, as a child, been raised to look for that in a partnership, or putting my sense of safety and security and stability in my ability to attract a mate or to be wanted by a man specifically. And I you do shadow work for years, you do this work for years, guys. This shit is insidious. And just when you think you're like, I have done the work, and I'm someone who's been in all kinds of relationship dynamics, so I have done a lot of that kind of work. But damn, is it deep? Like the shit runs deep, guys. And so, part of this process, as we learn in foundations, is we identify that belief that isn't aligned with what you know to be true. And you start making choices when that comes up in your life. You start making choices that are aligned with your new belief. And that is what relays those neural pathways and makes it to where you're actually engaging with your life in this different way. That is, in a nutshell, what Foundations is teaching you to do. And the guild gets you applying this with your magical practice. Like that's kind of what we're working toward anyway. So every time I am in a place where, so before this last relationship I was in, I was self-partnered, and I was real proud of being self-partnered because before that, had been in like high control relationships and things like that. So I was really finding myself and figuring out like, what is my favorite ice cream, because I would default so much to like my partner, my kids. And so I did that whole like self-partnering journey. And what's different about this time is that I am not basing my sense of, like, you would think that I would go from like basing my sense of safety and security and stability
Oh, eventually.
in going from basing that in a partnership, or specifically like a relationship with a male, like they will keep me safe and they will provide the stability and all of that. Before this relationship, I would have gone to, oh, I need to do that in myself. Like I need to find my sense of self, or sense of safety and stability and security in myself. But I am not, that's not where I would go with it at all, and not where I intend to go with it. I am actively choosing to look for and to create the relationship with my practice and my life, that the unfolding of my life, that's where I find my sense of safety and security and stability, is in my relationship with my life and my practice. And because I practice, my practice is rooted in connection, and my passion is in community. And so I am going from like self-partnered in a partnership that is like pretty traditional to I'm going to be married to the community kind of a thing. So, which is funny because my guides have been like monastic lifestyle, and my like through all of my like medical diagnoses over the last year even has been like, you need to minimize, you need to simplify, you need to like mirror. And then I'm thinking, monastic, like the robes that monks wear are like super sensory, like mindful in so many ways. Like, wouldn't that be cool? So I should have seen it coming like a long time ago that my guides would be like, you know what would it be like if you went all in your community, and with the same like fervor and passion that you would go all in like seeking a relationship or seeking that traditional like partnership, as that is where I'm going to be loved and to be seen and to be supported and all of those, right? That a partnership, going from thinking a like single partnership is going to be where you're going to get your needs met as far as emotional support and physical support and all of that. I'm making the transition to the realization that the truth is that I get all of those things from this community, and it is gladly given. It's not something that is this conditional like thing. It is we see each other's value and sincerely want to support each other in whatever that is, right? And I've never had a partnership that showed up for me in the way that this community has repeatedly shown up for me. So there. Ta-da! That's the end of my train of thought. I'm open to weigh-ins. I'm open to the conversations and questions and all of those things. I'm even open to like changes of topics. I just like, I feel like I haven't checked in with you guys in a while because I've been deep in processing my own catalyst over the last like couple of weeks or few weeks. Time is weird. Anyway, hi Samsung.
I forgot how to use this thing. It's been a while. Hold on, let me write. Okay. I feel so I'm gonna share my stuff. So recently, I think a lot of you that know me personally know that I just like in May, got diagnosed with breast cancer. Found out it was stage 3 breast cancer, and it was very aggressive. And I had a double mastectomy. I had my partial reconstructive. But when they found out how aggressive it was, I'm like on really one of the most aggressive chemos. But kind of what you were talking about, Demery, is like how it brought something to me because I couldn't figure out what was going on with me lately. But my entire life, I have always just taken care of myself, and I never wanted to trust people because I've learned to not trust people, that it's safer to do things on my own. And lately it's been hard for me to like have people's help, to reach out and get help. I've been doing it slowly, you know, but it is so hard for me to trust people. And that's why I decided to come back to the community, because I need to be able to, I mean, I want myself to be able to trust people again, but I want to be able to do it in the way I feel more comfortable, which is with my craft. And it is like the scariest feeling in the world to just let people like love you and be open and and feel safe. Because this thing has taken my life. And but to feel safe, and sometimes you don't even feel safe with your own family. It is, and like to find out that you've been sick for a long time and didn't even know it, and it's just been, And I just know that I was talking to Karen today, and I was like, I really feel like I need to come back. And she was super supportive, and um, it just feels better because like I I feel like I kind of grew up with you guys, and you guys helped me mature, and I learned how to. And I think without shadow work, I really don't think I would have survived this diagnosis. But with shadow work, I've gotten through a lot, and it just I feel like I need to come back because it's just the community is where I feel the safest. So I appreciate with you opening up and sharing your story because it helps me share mine. So yeah.
All right, I'm doing the things. Lower my hand. Okay. Like, thank you for sharing. Welcome, I'm like, welcome home. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean that sincerely. Uh, you too, Karen. Haven't seen you in forever. All of the everyone, like, welcome home. Like, this is hard work. Like, life, the human experience is fucking hard as shit. It is not easy. We didn't come here for a simple, easy road. If we did, it would be more like that, right? That's funny. The other day I was like, you know what? If I was supposed to get my shit together, like you'd think by now it would be more together. Like I am not meant to have my shit together. Like that's just clearly not aligned, right? Uh, but at the same time, uh, like, man, my brain just went in like 6 different directions on that. So that was fun. Thank you for going on that journey with me, guys. Uh, One thing I do want to I want to make very clear and be very transparent about, like, number one, I have a literal gene mutation that makes it to where I can do these like brave things, right? Learning to trust community and like trust in relationships, choosing to love, even though there is there one day you might lose, one day you might grieve that. Choosing love anyway is a brave thing to do, right? And you guys give me a lot of credit about my choosing to do that. But again, I have a literal gene mutation that makes it to where I can do those things. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm the one that's like taking one for the team all the time. But it feels like a trust fall every time. Every single time I choose to like go live in the morning in front of people. Every time I choose to like have these conversations internally, it feels like a trust fall, right? That I'm just like, I'm going to be vulnerable and just like, you know, do the thing, right? And yeah, it gets like easier, but it's because I'm supported better when I'm doing it too, right? Like the gene mutation that comes at a cost. Like I crash hard when I do brave things. It's expensive for me, but it is not easy. And I don't want you guys to think that this is something that is simple that you are doing. This is something that is brave. And so if you are like feeling those feelings of fear, and that's like, man, is there something, am I broken? Why is this so hard for me to do? It's hard for all of us. We're choosing to do it, guys. We're choosing to do it anyway, and we're doing it together. And it's not always comfortable, and it is not always this like easy ride. But the one thing that we do have is that we're also fucking stubborn, and we really, really, really are drawn to community, right, guys? Our guides are like, do the thing. This is really important. Silver, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump on that because with both of your shares so far, and I think also just the theme of this month, and like the everything I've been unpacking, like it's another thing that it came around again, right? Like it always does, it just like went to a deeper place. And it's pretty much just it's coping mechanisms and survival strategies, because it's really hard being on a rock plummeting through space and not knowing and forgetting why you're here. Like that's a really scary experience. And so to choose to be here and to choose yourself and your magic and your craft, and that goes against like literally everything that we have been taught to learn, like, or taught to know every day of our lives about how scary it is and how you need to choose the safest option according to like everybody else. And you saw what your mom did or what your dad did or your teacher or your siblings or whatever, and you're like, oh well, they survived, so I better do that. Like I was a very high masking person, and I've become able to really appreciate all of the knowledge that I gathered from being so high masking. And the thing that I did, and I'm sure many of you can relate, is I found the person in the room who I wanted to be the most like, and usually that was the safest person in the room in some way or another, at least from my perception. And so it was like, for some people it's a different type than the person I was trying to emulate, but it's generally who I perceive to be like the most likable or the most untouchable or something like that, right? And so it's just a very magical thing for you to try to step back into well, I was looking directly at Samsung, so I said step back, but like to step back into community when like everything else is driving people to separation. Like and for Jen Marie to like you to show us like a very personal process that you're going through, so that we can, so that other people who are going through really difficult things can see what it's like to be vulnerable, and how you don't get rejected by your community here for being vulnerable or for being angry or or for having a disagreement or anything like that. Whereas in a lot of the rest of the world, that has been the experience for a lot of people. So that's all. Renee.
Hello. I'm actually walking my dogs right now, so if you hear weird background noise, is it okay if I weigh in a little bit, Jen Marie? Okay, I'm gonna hold off then till I get a confirmation on that. So I'm gonna mute.
I believe I heard her say she was open to feedback when
I am absolutely.
There you go. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh no, okay.
It's okay. I'm multitasking, guys. I'm like, and I couldn't get to my computer fast enough. So yes,
Yeah,
yes,
I'm
listening.
multitasking too. Okay. So I was gonna say that the feeling I'm kind of getting from this is, first off, I want to kind of say like my favorite tarot card is the Fool. And it's the first tarot card, and some people might think that the Fool is something bad, but it's my favorite card. I love it so much. And I feel like Jen Marie has like big Fool energy. Like she is jumping off the cliff and throwing herself in, and doing it for herself, but also for all of us, And I am like super hooked on this phrase right now, which is divine nonchalance. And I know it's not nonchalance, but I feel like there is like that aspect um to entering into like new situations with an open mind. So I just wanted to say thank you and toss that out there. It's coming through for me today. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Like, when you said divine nonchalance, I'm like, oh, is it coming off as not like nonchalant? And then I turned to Kim and I was like, what if I'm just the first lemming off the cliff? But I'm not feeling that.
I hope it didn't come across that way. It's more
No,
of
no, no, no.
like
Uh,
the playful nature, and the inquisitive nature and the willingness to try new things.
Yeah, no, I
So I hope
could
that
not possibly give you any more like confirmation and validation that that's exactly what I'm feeling on my end too, is that like um that the wow, that the way I choose to navigate this is important, because not just for me to show myself like where I am in my practice, because it is really important to me that I am practicing what I'm preaching. As a person who does a lot of like claircognizant channeling, just because I say it doesn't mean that I'm actually practicing that, because it's a channeled message, right? It doesn't mean I'm actually doing it, but I pay attention to them and start to implement what I channel into my daily life. So every piece of advice that I've given anyone who has ever done like a private session with me, that I do get some kind of like channeled message, I also apply that to my life as well. And because it's like, it's valuable, like all of that information is valuable, and I wouldn't be receiving it or be able to interpret it clearly if it wasn't meant for me in some way as well too. And I'm not going to ask you guys to do anything that I am not absolutely willing to, like a fool, do myself, like wholeheartedly dive into. And a lot of what I talk about and encourage is like unapologetic authenticity and transparency and alignment, and just like to walk and engage with your life in a fearless way. And who would I be if I did not like do that, for one? But I truly and sincerely believe, through the way that magic has shown up for me since Bright and Dark even started, like from the beginning, and I can even trace it back for decades, all of what we're doing, how it has just like unfolded, and everything kind of leads into everything else because of autism, right? But I could tell you that whole journey, and that has proven to me so concretely that I can trust the unfolding of my life, and I can trust that my magic is going to show up for me. My relationships that I have cultivated show up for me all of the time. And so what I am merely doing is like choosing to trust that wholly. That's all I'm doing. And the truth of that is, why would that be scary? Because it has shown up for me. So where does the fear come from? Because I'm experiencing fear, and that's how I'm realizing, seeing that, oh, it's because of this conditioned belief that blah, 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 blah. And it's only because of my practice that I'm able to make that distinction. And that is the difference between like, that's where my confidence comes from, is because the data, like the real data, is different than what my brain is saying. So my brain is in a trauma response, right? Because what's actually happening and what has happened, I fucking survived so much. Like I'm very hard to get rid of, by the way.
Same.
And like I spent most of my life, my younger years, trigger warning, trying to get as far out and away and checked out as I possibly could, right? And the last time I intentionally attempted that, I chose that I was going to stay, and I was going to make it worth it. And like if I gotta live, I'm gonna fucking do something with it. Right. And I'm gonna go all in. And I'm not going to be at the end of my life wishing I would have, right? Or wishing I did. If I'm going to choose life, I'm going to live a life worth choosing. And that has made like a huge difference. But go ahead, Renee.
I know you guys don't like it when I apologize, but I'm gonna apologize because I kind of what Jen Marie said, like anything I'm saying out loud, I'm thinking like 10 things in my head at the same time. And I apologize that you guys have to sometimes read between the lines of what I'm saying because it doesn't always come out like the way I'm thinking it. But there was something else Jen Marie said today that she said we're all healers, And if I would have heard that yesterday, I would have been like, not me. Like, nah, I don't think so. Like, I think I have skills, but I don't think that's one that I bring to the table, But just before SASS, I was listening to like the tail end of a podcast, and someone said, thank you to all you healers and all of you that solve problems. And they were also kind of tying it into like a spiritual aspect. And I was like, oh, yeah, before this group, and even before I kind of knew what was up, and I worked in a haunted building. Like I was the one that was like always sent to go like stop the ghost from scaring people. But the way I did that is, and I might have mentioned this before, I would just go in the room where the ghost was or whatever it was doing, and I would say, please stop, you're scaring us. And I'm here to tell you that works. Like that works. So uh so yeah, so I'll take a little, I'll be a little bit of a healer in that sense, um so Morgana.
Um, in my life experience, I went through a lot of my well, my single digit years up to my 20s, my experience was assessing and managing threats. That that was what my life was. It wasn't making a decision based on, what I wanted, or, you know, you know, dreaming this or that. It was like, okay, what decision is going to cause the least damage or create the most safety? And when I got to the point where I could create enough safety, then I reached the point where I could start to build community and start to try and build what I wanted, what I needed. And I ended up being the person who would get frustrated because I could see what needed to happen and people would just not commit, not do it. So I would be the person who would be like, okay, we're lighting this fuse. And sometimes that fuse would get you something that was more like a fart. And sometimes it would be like a stick of dynamite. Each one of those decisions to light that fuse took courage, took energy, took commitment. When I was in threat assessment and creating safety, I couldn't. Well, what I know now is my mind couldn't make those assessments and judgments because it wasn't functioning optimally because of what your brain does under stress. So it wasn't that I didn't want to or I didn't have the capability. It was because, you know, physiologically, hormonally, my brain just wasn't going to let me because it was like, okay, we have to keep you safe. Once I got to the point where I could be safe, then I could start building those things. And I was that person who was just like, if we're going to do this, let's do this. Let's get this done. Let's go. And I do like to be that person who's encouraging, pushing other people to be their best and, you know, see what we can actually do. You know, when there's a failure to launch, it hurts. It requires grieving. In my personal practice, I take my own personal failures pretty critically because I'm usually dealing with those in a vacuum. I'm working on that. That's like old patterns, old habits. Because I was a solitary practitioner for so long and trust issues. Because usually I'm just like thinking, okay, the only way we can improve is if we, you know, analyze what went wrong and like figure out what to do next. Well, you can analyze and figure out what went wrong, or you can beat yourself up, or you can do a mixture of that. So, you know, doing that in a healthy manner is really, really good. And doing that in community where you have healthy accountability really, really makes the big difference. And that's why I was so passionate all those years about kicking people in the ass and being like, okay, we need community. We need to get together. We need to do things. And I would get so frustrated with people for a lack of commitment. And, you know, being the person who was there first, left last, and just being like, okay, if I just do this long enough, other people will show up and see, oh, okay, they're working really hard and I'm going to follow their example. So that was communication of expectations that maybe I could have done better. communication and boundaries I could have tried and done better. So I felt all that was related to the subject from my personal experiences. So and the floor is open, so whoever's next is next.
I wanted to, that's reminding me of the kind of work that I've been doing over the last month or so, but really like the last few months. It's all like related. And it was funny because I feel like it culminated at the witch work circle. And it's kind of happened a little bit since, because I, started to facilitate them. And I feel like very inspired to do that and like to write meditations and stuff for it. And so I can definitely tell that that's like in alignment for me. And so I had like all these downloads happen like right afterwards. And what I released was like, I wasn't really planning on it. I had a different release in mind. And then as I was talking about it, I was given the word separation. And so that's what I wrote on my release paper. And pretty much the next day, and then like throughout the rest of the, I guess, almost week, since it's been like half a week, I guess, not even. Since then, I've just been seeing like all of the ways that I've been keeping myself separate from other people, like literally just fall away. And that was part of my coping mechanism, kind of like Jen Marie touched on it a little bit too, but like the running, even like analyzing and observing things is like, oh, I'm the observer, you're the observee. That's a separation between you and me. It's keeping me from being with the other person, because at some point I learned being with another person could hurt. So so it was just crazy, like all the different ways, like I could see it happening. And I could pinpoint my distraction. It's just happening like so much faster now. Like I feel like, it's like magic is real, you guys, and we're doing it. And like, and it's so cool to like participate in this like continuously, because it gets easier. And it just, the separation, I was also feeling the frustration of being lonely. Like I at some point I just was like crying about being lonely. And then I had basically the conclusion that happened as I realized, I saw the separation and I saw that I was doing it. And then it's just like, of course you're lonely. You're doing it. You're the one that's putting everybody else over here. And then like that. So like, it's basically, I keep on, I'll inch forward and I'll just be like, wow, this is the deepest connection I've ever had. And then I'm like, I solved it. I solved my intimacy issues, you guys. And then and then it'll come back around and I'll realize how I'm pushing somebody away in a different context, or in a slightly different way. And it's so funny. It's just like, it's actually like hilarious to like watch me do that, because then my guides are just like, you're the one doing it, dude. Like, you're allowed to do it. Like, you can do it, but you can't like run in the other direction from the group and then say that you're lonely. I mean, you can, but like, there's nothing, like, you're doing it. So um it was just like a fun revelation, like where I was I ended up just laughing like really hard. I mean, I cried a lot about it too, but I like ended up laughing once it just realized like that that moment, because it was like the tension broke, because I was holding the two sides of myself that were in dissonance, right? Like the one that wanted to be separate and the one that didn't want to be lonely. And then and then they met, and then they just went, and then that made me laugh. So it was like, it was a very cool like integration moment, um that I'm just like really, I could feel it from like a zoomed out place. And I've also been doing a lot of feelings work. And so I feel like that is kind of like a flow release thing, because all of the reason I couldn't see that before is because I had a bunch of shit blocking the view. And then once I could like run the water and clear that a little bit, I was able to uh I guess integrate that. I don't want to say fix it, but but and I'm sure it'll come back up again, especially if something like stressful happens, and that happens. And that's part of the process. But I just feel like I came around the edge of a loop, and around the river bend. I was just that's what came up for me, that song. So Samsung.
I I actually feel like the same way, because like being back feels so it just feels better. But I maybe you guys can give me some advice, because since this cancer shit, um my family has been bombarding me with, and this is what has really partially like what made me like I pushed away a lot of people in my family, because they've been bombarding me with a lot of, oh, Jesus is going to save you, and pray about it. And that's bothering me, because like I don't resonate with that. And that's why like being back is just like, oh, this feels so much better, because this feels more like me. And I don't know. I don't want to get too like into like other faiths or anything like that, but it has been hard to maneuver that and be respectful. And I don't know, I don't want to go too much into it, but like, because it's just draining, so draining on me. Um, but I feel it, like what you were just talking about, Ezra, is like I was pushing away the community I felt the closest with, because I was pushing away everybody, because I didn't know, because like I just grew up not trusting anybody. But then like I would reach out to the people, and when I finally started putting it out on Facebook, the people that I truly felt more connected to, I was like, I really am not alone. And like it was just such a scary feeling to feel like you're really not alone. It's a scary feeling, but it's such a good feeling. But yeah, it's frustrating, because yeah. So yeah, I don't know, Ezra. Oh, Silver, I apologize.
That's okay. um I when I first heard or read, I guess, you say that you have been diagnosed with cancer, I got very scared. Like, like we were roommates at the spring convergence, and I felt like very close to you, and so I felt a lot of fear, and so I can only imagine how much fear you're feeling right now. And what struck me about what you said was that when they're saying the Jesus stuff, that's about them. They're not really trying to soothe you so much as soothe themselves. And that's kind of them avoiding being with you in your fear. And I can imagine that that would be really frustrating because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, if I was diagnosed with cancer, I would want it to be about me for a while. Like, and so is that like kind of resonating with what your experience?
It is, because I've had my grandma run around going, my granddaughter's got cancer, my granddaughter's got cancer, and my sister, who I don't have a relationship with, saying, oh, we have to be best friends now, and I'm going to be at all your surgeries and all of this. And it's like, no, you're not. None of this is about you. This is, and I don't want to be like, it has to be about me, because I feel so weird saying that, because I've never wanted anything to be about me. I don't like that kind of attention, but I've had to come to the fact that this does have to be about me, because if I don't, I'll die. And so it has to. And that's hard. That's like one of the hardest things, is saying, I have to make this about me. Because if I don't, that's like, it's already spread. It's already throughout my body. So like, I have to. That's a really scary feeling. So yeah, when people do that shit, it's like, it does definitely resonates. So definitely.
Go for it, Renee.
Samsung, I just wanted to say, please, please, please make it about you. And in every decision you make, because I'm just gonna say, when my dad had leukemia, I think he did a lot of things for us, like certain treatments, that I mean, hindsight's 2020, but he put himself through more than he needed to for our sake. And just make sure it is all about you. And I know we don't know each other, but I just want to say, like, cancer, it's the hardest thing. It's the hardest thing. And you're so strong and I'm really glad that you're here with everybody, because I know that, everybody wants the best for you. And the only advice I would give you is, if you can have an advocate with you while you're in the hospital and going to treatments, and just no matter who that person is, like, if you have someone that really cares about you and loves you, I think it just makes a difference, in every aspect, not just for your support, but for people to see someone cares about you and someone is going to make sure that you are taken care of. So, okay. Love to you. Wit.
Hi, Samsung. I've missed you. I'm so happy to see your face. Um, so thinking about, I agree with what everyone says, 100%. But like trying to think of a way that you could transmute some of that energy that they're sending you, to be able to use it for yourself. They're not really respecting your beliefs, your thoughts. If I know anything about, what you've shared with your family past you, probably some of your wishes as well too, or, your boundaries. But thinking about how you can, is if you hear, something that I've been trying to do, because I've realized like that bugs me as well too, is when people are like, oh, pray it away, or pray, Jesus will take care of it, or this or that, and I am nowhere, not in your same situation as you, of course, but like trying to see that for, it is something that they have offered some energy to you, and like taking what I can from that and saying, okay, so they are saying this of, trying to give me some hope, or trying to in their own way say that they love me, and can I take that and use that energy for my healing and for myself, and seeing it that way. I mean, kind of like change the perspective on it just a little bit, and like not saying that it isn't frustrating and it is so hard still to hear that, and like so triggering sometimes too, especially in a situation like this. I could just imagine, but being a witch about it. Oh, you telling me to pray to Jesus? I mean, if you fuck with Jesus, then great, pray to Jesus, like if not, then all right, I'm going to take that healing energy that you're still sending me, and I could use it for myself still. And, thank you. I'm going to take it there and run with it, So that's just what was coming up for me. So, but I love you. All right, Maria.
Hello, can you hear me? Anybody? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, thanks. I'm the one that does the announcements, but can't get any of my microphones to work. How ironic is that? So, oh my gosh. So I was taking all this in, and this is kind of what came up for me, and I wasn't going to say anything, and then my ears started ringing, so I said, okay, I'll share it. So first of all, love you, Samsung. I'm so happy that you're back. Karen too. And it's like those, I've been thinking about this too, like those of us doing this work, this inner work, no matter what it is, just regardless of religion or spirituality beliefs, the expectation of those of us that are supposed to be like our caregivers, our like support team, like the perception of what a word means in a familial relationship, right? Like what mom means, what dad means, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, and the social, really the social conditioning, I'll say, around what those words mean and the expectations that come with with those relationships. And because I don't have traditional relationships with my mom, dad, brother, and almost now looking back, like it's allowed me this kind of freedom to like think of those things in a way where I don't have expectations on like what it means, meaning like, oh, you're my aunt, that's nice, but I don't have expectations of that you're supposed to support me. Just how have you shown up for me? Like what is our relationship? And those of us doing like this inner work, when you delve into it, like your perspective changes and the relationships that you have can shift a bit, like because of that, right? Because we are here like doing the thing. And I like in a sense of what Whit said, I've kind of taken it on that way. Like if you pray for me, I just say, oh, thank you, like thanks for praying for me. But then it's like then I just leave it there, as the inner work has led me to shifting the perspective of like the fight of like I need to tell you what I think. I need you to, in order for you to love me, you should like understand my perspectives or like agree with me. And so, and I'm not saying you were doing that, but there's like an element, a pattern that I've seen with like many people of, you get into those conversations and it's like we have that shadow work coming up of acceptance, of like, wanting to be accepted, and somehow, some people see that like if you don't agree with me, then you don't accept me. And that's a whole layers like of shadow work and things like that. But can it be that yes, there are certain people when you have a catalyst that make it all about them? I totally resonate with that too. not telling certain family members certain things about me because knowing that they would just make it about them. And I was like, that's just exhausting, you know? And so, but it's kind of that shadow work of like, well, taking in like, they are worried about me. They do care about me. But then, and then holding that boundary of your beliefs aren't the same, but, even people like that comment, you know, sometimes on some of the witchcraft posts out there, and like, I think Jen Marie once responded like, well, thank you for caring about my soul. Like, thank you. Like, I appreciate, the care and concern of my soul, and like, have a nice day, like, but it's like, it's that shadow work of, what kind of like that acceptance, when you do have different beliefs. And I think that's one rabbit hole to kind of go down. But with all of that said, when you are, dancing with this cancer, all of that too, like, can take like energy, and so it's like, where, like you said, like, where do you want to put your energy? And you've already claimed it, that you want your energy on you, and that it is all about you. And that, I just say, claim that and be loud and proud about it. And those that align with it will rally around you. And those that don't will, they won't be part of that. It doesn't mean they can't like support from the place that they're at, you know? But so it's like, I can just see that it brings up all, like, it can bring up like kind of all of that shadow work. But it's almost like, at this time, where your energy needs to be, what to do for yourself, and we support you in that. So thank you. I see Stephanie's hand up. I think, Stephanie, you're next.
Hello. I don't know you, but hello. Um, you seem like a beautiful soul, and I'm glad that you have helped develop and been in the history of everything that this is, and are welcome back into the fold. I don't know that I have anything new to say, but maybe just rewordings of what everybody else is saying. I've worked in the spaces of people in hospitals and hospices, and a lot with new moms. And in those liminal kind of spaces of beginnings or endings or just big health transitions, it is a sacred space, and it is one of the few moments and times that you get to be so selfish and self-centered, and you're supposed to. And so it is a double-edged sword that nobody would ever wish to have enter their life. But now that you got it, take advantage of it and be as selfish as you want to be, and make as self-centered decisions as you can. And no is a complete sentence, and that's a complete answer. And just, I mean, you can tack a thank you onto it. No, thank you. You feel like being polite, but if you don't want casseroles, or if you don't want company, or, so these are the things that I tell, a new mom, that, like, the entire in-laws are coming over to see the new baby. Just no, 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 thank you. No, not at this time. Not taking visitors. Don't want your assistance. Don't want your company. And let your house go to shit. Don't clean up. Don't take a shower. Don't do all the things that everybody else is expecting. Like, it's okay to just be in your space and own your space like you've never owned it before, and own your body like you've never owned it before, and just say no and make choices from your heart and your space. And if other people don't like it, they can go do whatever they need to do with themselves. And, like, what are they going to talk smack about? You got cancer. Like, you can get away with anything, like, you get to be the queen bee, the boss. Like, nobody is going to talk smack. Like, you get to do whatever you need to do right now. So at least get the fringe benefits of it, right? You got all the other crappy stuff that comes along with it. At least, sit in that space, and maybe that will help shake up the other shadowy stuff that you weren't able to do prior to this. I mean, I don't know your life before and after, but maybe this is something that will be good for you. I mean, it's good for me. It's good for all of us to be able to say no more firmly when we don't want a casserole or we don't want somebody praying over us. And in that regard, I have a whole family full of well-meaning Bible belters, and I imagine one of those little translation devices where their Jesus talk goes into it and changes it to like Cantonese or French or something, and then I translate it back into like witchy stuff, and so like Jesus stuff, and then it's French, and then I translate it back into spirit because their intent's good. They love me. I know they mean well, but I ain't hearing that. Like that does not go into my ears. So like just filter it through. It means the same thing, but I'm not trying to hear that. So blessings. I pray for your body in a witchy kind of spiritual way, not that Jesus stuff.
Get it, Renee?
Um, I was just gonna also encourage Samsung to kind of what Stephanie was saying. If you can get away with it, anything, like have fun, just go nuts with it if you can, because my dad, he, I took him every weekend to this casino where he met up with like his high school classmates, and three of them had cancer, but we would, have lunch together every week. And I mean, he did he did fun stuff. And his like hospital room, we had a big map of Alaska, but I got him like a Keurig coffee machine, and we had like his closet was packed full of snacks. And so all the nurses like hung out in his room because his room was the fun room. And like he was just, they'd be like, I want you to put on your socks. And he'd be like, I want you to multiply 7 by 464 in your head, like he just like sassed him. But like I would just say, yeah, just have as much fun as you possibly can and just go for it. I'm gonna mute.
I wanted to share with you, Samsung, if it's okay. Uh, One of my favorite poets has cancer, and she writes a lot of inspirational like poetry and like musings about it. Her name is Andrea Gibson. If you're interested in some of that. Also, I'm really glad to see you back.
Hi guys. How you doing? I'm listening to you guys, and then it's like these long breaks, and it's like, okay, well, Is this my moment?
It's your moment.
Is this the moment?
It's your moment. Do it.
We're just like doing the thing, listening.
Hi, Kim.
She just
said hi.
ocean.
Oh. Hi, Ocean.
Hi, everybody. I mean, I didn't have anything to say. I was just saying, I guess it's hi.
I'm gonna go ahead and add the suggestion, Samsung, of journaling this experience. Not your favorite thing, not my, I don't like journaling, I don't like writing, reading, talk to me, but journaling about the experience, all of it, when I was going through it and was bald, I found great amusement in, how other people at the grocery store reacted to me. How, I mean, everybody here has had because everybody I ran into, you either get the shocked look or the, my sister's cousin's she had breast cancer. Everybody has had somebody with it, and it's touched all of our lives. And you know, but what you're going through now with your body, between the hair falling out and the chemo and the surgeries and the different things that the nursing staff or things may say to you that touch your heart, jot all those down, that when they, because it is, for me, cancer was it is a transitional thing. There's life before cancer and then there's life after cancer. And yeah, but I hate the blessings that I find with cancer is the ability to be the boundaries. You have the ultimate fucking trump card. I mean, I can say that because I'm in the club. So when anybody is like, oh, well, I didn't sleep. Well, fuck you. I had chemo yesterday. You didn't sleep last night. Yeah. You got the ultimate fucking trump card. I was speeding. Well, I'm sorry, you're an officer. I thought I was going to shit myself. I had chemo yesterday. Ultimate fucking trump card. See, I'm glad I can make you laugh. But that's really, and setting boundaries with people that, because we're always, especially as, born female, you're programmed to minimize your stuff because your mother, your sister needs something, the babies need something more than you do. So you just go through. No, you have cancer. Fuck you. And you can use those words often. Well, no, I don't suggest it, but I loved what you said as far as you're transmuting that energy, because everybody, people at the grocery store, family you ain't seen, I'm praying for you. Do you have a personal relationship with Jesus? All of it. Take that energy because it is of a place of love and support and transmute it. I love it. Same reason when people are walking around, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. I realize there's Jewish people that get offended by saying Merry Christmas, but the intent was wishing you a happy holiday season. Fuck off. With all the, so it just, same way, it's like, oh, I'm wishing you health, the support of a divine being is where the intent is. Right with it, because it's all connected, and it is all, I mean, that's how I look at it anyways. It's all based in love at the end of the day. That's we are all connected and it works better when we do it in a loving way. I missed you guys. Glad to be back.
Do we need to send you some pentacle t-shirts to walk into chemo with so everybody knows? Or some whatever
Do it with two pentacles, one on each booby. Sorry if
whatever
that offended anybody.
whatever symbol you align with. This witch has cancer, whatever. I know some witches that can make t-shirts.
No, I want one of those shirts.
Totally. I remember like my dad was a born again Christian and had like a breast tumor once, and he ended up, he wanted the church to pray for me, and we were talking about miracles, and he's like, well, we'll pray and you'll have a miracle and the tumor will be gone. And I was like, well, thanks. I said, but the miracle, like for me, is that like I have a doctor who's going to take it out, and like, like that is not that also like miraculous, like that I have like, but I'm able to get that care. And so it was just like kind of that perspective, but that was what I was going with, and that was what he was going with, and I wasn't going to change my dad's mind. Like there was never going to be a time while he was alive, he's not anymore, that I was going to change his mind or that he was going to change my mind. The stubbornness is in the genetics with us, but different ways. And but I chose, and I could have chosen to like fight him on it, and said, don't do that, I don't want you doing that for me, I don't believe, that's not my belief system. But it just, for me, like I just it felt okay for me to let him do what he felt he needed to do, knowing that I was firm that in my beliefs and in my bones could feel like I was going to do what was right for me. And I also felt like I didn't need to kind of like, I wasn't going to discuss it with him because I was an adult, I have free will, and I can make my own choices. And I didn't feel like I needed to go get into it with him. In my teenage years, I absolutely would have. I absolutely would have gotten into it with him, and maybe in my 20s. But as I got a little bit older, some of that kind of like, I let that go a little bit. But so yeah, I took it that like he cares about me that much that he's going to get the whole church to pray for me, and like that he loves me. And then I did what I needed to do. So, but it's a lot to unpack. And I know you're kind of like surrounded by that with your family, with your like blood family.
With my grandma, when I finally came out publicly about it, she started laughing. She goes, well, now I can tell the church. And I was like, oh my God, grandmother. I did get a blessing from my uncle who's Mormon, but it was more from him as being one of my closest uncles. It was more spiritual for me, not being like him being Mormon or getting it from God. It was more like just a spiritual blessing was what it was for me. and I got it right before my major surgery, but with my grandma, it was like completely different. She was like so excited. She goes, now I can finally tell the chair. And then that's like completely different. But with my uncle, it was like so spiritual, so spiritual. But yeah, no, it makes sense.
And it's like so interesting to me, like when we have these like big like moments and thinking about like the different perspectives, right? And you know, we can absolutely go into like, why is this happening to me? Like, and I think everybody does that. You know, you go through that period, like, why is this happening to me? But like, I think you joined like 2022, like summer of 22 or something. I just looked at
Yep.
it. So it's like interesting to me that you had these new tools in your tool belts of having like gone through foundations, meeting all these witches, and like this whole support system, you know, and just having had that been the last 2 years, and now
Yeah,
you have that to take into this like journey, you know, I just think I just struck me. And
totally. Like I said, I don't think I would have handled it very well if I hadn't had like the tools. Because when I got diagnosed, the thought of why is this happening to me honestly didn't come across. It was like, okay, so what's happening? What do I do? Where am I going with this? Like, what's happening? Like, because they didn't even know how aggressive it was until after they did the surgery. So it was never like a thought of why is this happening to me? Nothing like that. It was just like, okay, so what do I have to do? You know, and if I hadn't had done so much shadow work prior to that and then kept the tools that I've learned, I truly don't think I could have. Now, after losing Timmy and then Kirby, I really don't think I would have. I think I would have been just too broken. So no, I'm so grateful that things happened the way they did. They were meant to be. But then I realized I needed to come back because I still need that support because I I still need the support. I don't know how else to say it.
I don't know why I raised my hand instead of just jumping in at this point, but we all need that support, Samsung. Like that's we all need it, not just you. Like yes, you need it more now. You know, you need the support of your community right now. But that doesn't make you any less or anything different than the rest of us, you know? Like we all need each other. And I'm so happy that you're back now when you need it the most, you know? Not that like yes, you were gone, but you were gone, you know. But you have this community now to be here and to give you that support that you need during these times too, that it's going to get tough. You know, it has been tough. It's going to get tough, but we're here for you, you know. You know me. I'll throw out a fuck you for you at any time you need me to. You just let me know. You know Rick will show up with his Michael Myers mask on somewhere for you as well too to support in any way that you possibly can.
Thank you for letting us be here for you, Samsung.
Thanks for letting me just talk. I appreciate it. I hope I didn't take up like too much space. So
You're allowed to take up space.
I'm
Go for it, Stephanie.
I'll have a quick topic change if you want to help. Maybe that will make you feel like a big, strong, powerful witch who is wise and experienced for those of us who are not. So Jen Marie told me that it's okay to talk even when you feel like you're taking up too much space. Because I really didn't want to, but she told me that I had to and that I could. And so I don't know what I'm good at and where my giftings are. And she said that y'all might be interested in helping me figure that out. We may not have time to do that today. I don't know how long of a process that is. But yeah, I just don't know. And so I don't really know how to talk that out or figure that out. Maybe you could help me. Oh, everybody's jumping in. Oh God, what do we do? I don't know. What do we do? How do we do this? Everybody, give me your wisdom. Ocean, I think you started first.
I did. Thank you. Hi, good morning. So I love that you're bringing this here. And I would say, um, like the best place to start is to start taking notes on like where you're feeling things in your body. And when you sense something, take note on that too, like in any way, like smell, taste, um, like if any textures are highlighted for you or you hate some textures, that is also good data. Why am I struggling to remember this? Anytime you hear something, like if you hear, um, like if there's something that you hear that just is highlighted for you, you like notice it, write it down and then write down the date that you heard it. And any like feelings that you have about it, or if you like if you can remember what you were just thinking before you sensed what you're sensing, that is also great information. And I will go ahead and pass it off to Silver.
Yeah, this is an awesome question. My first thought was to think about things that you did when you were a kid. And like if there was any highlighted stories that like your parents always tell about you, that kind of thing, or if you have like a like as you continue down like this path, like basically you'll probably remember more things and they'll come up. But like I think in stories a lot of the time, and so usually I'll be like, oh, why did my mom tell this story about when I was 4 years old so many times? And then later on, when I'm like realizing a gifting in something, I'll remember, have that memory, and it's like it tracks right back to it. So that's and I love doing inner child work because I think most of like the whole thing we were talking about at the beginning was like with coping mechanisms, all of those formed. Like we stopped being in touch with our giftings because of things that happened when we were a kid that scared us, and we're like, whoop, okay, I'll just go back into my turtle shell, actually. And so those are like things that you really enjoyed doing, things you got in trouble for, like that kind of stuff. Like that I would say that anytime that comes up for you, definitely, and I think writing it down is a great idea too, because then you'll go back and be like, oh shit, wow, look, I just noticed that I wrote the word you know now I can't think of a word, but you'll notice the pattern in the words that come up over and over again. So yeah, that's all I have. Maria. Oh, do you have a question?
Well, I grew up in deep in the Ozarks, barefoot
Mhm.
and with no like air conditioning or internet until I was like 17. And so I think it has to do with nature. And I know every wildflower and every plant and every tree. So I mean that, but not like I don't know how to make salves and tinctures and like the chemical chemistry and like so like green witchery stuff, yes, but also like measuring and I don't like
Mm.
being told what to do, and so like an ounce of this and a pinch of that, like that stuff annoys me. Like I don't bake because I don't like being told what to do, bossed around in the kitchen. So like salves and stuff, I don't make salves and tinctures and stuff, which is what that seems like that is. But I know like every
Mhm.
wildflower there is within a 2-mile radius. Okay, Maria.
For sure.
Okay. I have a little bit of a different take on it. I have a feeling you and I might resonate in this way. Um, so, well, first of all, when you ask the question, um, I had like human design pop up. I don't know if you've ever done your human design or done your
I just did
body
like
graph.
2 days ago for the first time. Yes, but I
Okay.
don't understand it. Yeah.
Yeah, so like going through the kind of prompts, it might just give you some insight. It just popped up for me. But I I like a lot of things and I like a lot of things. So I'm not one that like deep dives. I like deep dive on one thing for like a day and then I'm like on to the next thing. Yes.
Mhm.
Um I don't have like this one calling or this one passion. I pick up various things along the way and then I weave it into whatever I'm doing in the moment. And that is a gifting. And I'm
That
really
is
good at it. And I suspect that you're probably really good at it too. Um, and so like what you what are you seeking? You're seeking are you seek repeat again like what it is that you're seeking.
well, like what am I particularly skilled in? And then what the hell am I supposed to do with it? Like I just found this tooth, I got an arrowhead. I found this fucking tower under a rock in a stream. Like I'm finding all this stuff, but I don't know what to do with it. And I'm not a patient person. And I know that I'm supposed to be just patient and waiting and being. I
Yeah.
don't know what I'm supposed to do with it.
Do what you want.
Yeah.
I know that's like
I
so
want to
hard to
help
hear.
people. I mean, I'm a
And
healer in my jobs, all my jobs. I'm healing people. And I
yeah,
want to
me
help them
too.
more.
Yes. Is that exciting for you though?
Not in my fucking mundane jobs. They're gross. I hate them. I would like to incorporate this into healing and helping, but I don't know how to integrate it all.
So like, yes, I think Ocean and Silver like kind of also said, but it's like, and it's that, I don't know. I feel like I'm always comes back to Bashar, like for me, for some reason, but it's like, and I'm sure he's not the only one, but it's like, it's just at this point, I spent my whole life, my younger life, figuring out what I was supposed to do, what's the right way to do it, how am I supposed to do it, and then kind of going through the journey from psychic to psychic witch. I was like, I shed all of the supposed tos and the shoulding on myself. And I'm just like, well, what do you actually want to do? Because we can get caught up in the like, there's a way to do X, Y, and Z, and like this is the path for that. In reality, or my reality that I think some of us share is like, it's really it's like your own way, and we'll we'll get bored if we're not following like what's exciting to us.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And so yeah, like just following that excitement. Um and knowing what you don't want is also just as important as knowing what you want. I know that like doesn't help, but like when something is so I'm a very much a response person, meaning because there's so much in my brain at one time, sometimes what happens is something happens externally, like I hear something, I watch something, somebody says something, I walk outside and see something, and it gets, and then all of a sudden it's like screaming, it's pinging, it's highlighted, it's very exciting. And that's the rabbit hole. Like that's the yellow brick road. Those are the breadcrumbs. And so, yes. And like that way it is kind of waiting, because like you're waiting to see like how you respond to certain things. But I also resonate with, I do absolutely resonate with the way that you're feeling and feeling that. And because like you're feeling that at this moment, I feel like something will happen soon, because like you're getting that like itch.
It's
So
building up to this momentum of just like bursting, and I feel just like vibrating to this bursting level.
yes. But and the other thing too, like everyone, we're all so unique, and our giftings are the way that we sense, like our sensory system and our senses is also unique, that just how things present to the unique witch is going to look different for everyone. You know what I mean? Like I experience clairaudience. I can tell you how I experience it. You might experience clairaudience differently. It's clear hearing, but you know what I mean? You're not like, there's no the way here. Like, right. I don't feel like that exists for us, but we're here. We can like share these experiences and validate each other. And there are witches that have written things that might say like, this is the way. I just don't find that, I find that to be very limiting, but I do like interested in other people's perspectives. But that's why it's hard to say like, do it this way. Do it Stephanie's way. And keep doing the journal prompts, keep doing the witch work circles, keep going, doing the thing, because that also helps. Okay, I'm done. I think Karen, I know I saw hands up, but I see Karen's hand up right now. Karen, fight it out.
So Maria said a lot of what I wanted to say as well too. Shocker. But coming from somebody who it took a long time to realize what my gifts were. I mean, I had to basically be like, you don't see it and you don't do, like, come on, it's right in front of your face. Taking that time, like that patience, it's the self-doubt creeps in, and then the imposter syndrome creeps in. And so like I totally can feel and know possibly what you're going through right now, you know? And so following what excites you, and like Maria said, if something pings you, following that. Because that is going to just give you more and more information. And it's amazing how down the road it comes out if you're like, well, it's a really good thing that I looked this up and know this because of this thing that's happened now. And trying to shift that perspective of, I have to find my gifting because I need to know what it is so that I can help other people with it. I need to be able to help this, or I need to be able to do this or do that. Shifting that perspective to being, I'm going to explore what I like to do. I'm going to explore this thing that comes over here. Oh, that is really cool. Let me go check it in that. Oh, that doesn't actually ring with me, or, you know, I'm bored with it and I'm going to go on to this thing now. Like that is going to get you possibly in a place that you're going to be able to see it a little bit better, because yes, we're here to do things. Yes, I am also a helper in all of my life, period. It's who I am as a person. I think that's who most of us are as people. And so like being able to figure out how to do it for yourself versus how you can do it to use it for other people, is just, it's a different way of looking at it. And sometimes it comes a little bit clearer when you're able to like get to that point. Now that takes a lot of shadow work, and like in what you're doing, you're already doing it, right? You're working your way towards that. So and it will reveal itself when when you need it the most or when it's time. And that is the most frustrating goddamn thing ever to do, is to wait for something like that, for the universe to decide that you're ready for it, or that the timing's right, or so on and so forth. So, all right, that is my thing. Karen, the screen is yours.
Okay, okay, I get it. There we go. Oh, lower hand. Okay. Yes, yes, and yes to what everybody said. I've been doing this a long time, almost 30 years. I'm a crone and I'm a chaos magician. There are so many magical things we can talk about. Do you want to talk about gemstones? You want to talk about herbology? There's some, and I smoke too much weed, so I have to put everything on post-it notes. You're not going to learn everything or where the giftings are. They will all come when they're supposed to. And what everybody says, what lights you up, what melts your butter and makes you think, oh, I want to check into that. Follow that. And then what Ocean said, lean into the feelings, what's surrounding that. And oh, I'm up in the Lou, honey. There's magic, lots of magic down there in the Ozark Hills. I grew up on Bull Shoals Lake, Table Rock, and I got family all the way from Piggott, Arkansas to Joplin. There is so much magic down there. Lean into what is just where the universe slapped your ass on this turn on the, and tap into some of that, what's naturally around you. There's a lot of, that old country wisdom that everybody's grandmother, that's witchcraft, baby, that they brought over from Ireland, that they picked up a little bit from indigenous people, that they kind of learned from somebody's grandmother that came over from Germany. Put it all together, and that's a big part of what the hillbillies down there and have brought with them, and are what they bring to the table. So that decent roadkill, roadkills too. But yeah, lean into what's around you in the area, because there is a lot of magic and beauty in there. That's all. Happy SASS, happy Sunday, y'all.
I'll be super quick since we only have a couple minutes left, but there's a few different things. I said it in the chat, but I wasn't sure if you read it, but like in the statement that you made of wanting to, create a place for people on your land and then take them out nature walking. And that like there's like already just like creating space. That's actually like a whole thing that I've been realizing that I do too. It's like a creating spaces. That is like even like the name of a workshop that I was thinking about doing. And then so I saw that in there, nature guide, like kind of like a nature tour guide type of thing. And then land healing, like the land wants to support us and things that actually are good for us, like it's not moral, but it is, it wants what we want for it. And when we're like killing it, it's not in alignment with a lot of us. So then also, like when you were saying that like you don't make tinctures and stuff like that, so but you do know enough about things like maybe to at least safely like experiment with like teas and stuff, and just like maybe not like get into the medicinal, but you could just make it fun. You could make beverages, and cook and like that kind of stuff. I don't know if you're a cooking person, but just from the last 20 minutes, like there were already so many highlighted things in there, and that's kind of like one of my giftings is like finding the point in something. Like I realized I'm pointy recently. And Ocean and I were talking about it, and it's just like I have like tried not to be too pointy, like and too sharp, but like it's also part of my gifting too. So it's like it's important. So that's why I also ask like things that you got in trouble for, because that also is like pointing you at something. But yeah, okay, it's Ocean.
Thank you, witches. Have a good Sunday. Bye.